The following segment is sponsored by Graves McLain. All right, what exactly is a concussion, and do you know what to do if your child or your loved one gets a concussion? An upcoming lecture is going to provide important information about concussions and the concussion protocol. We've got an expert here this morning giving that lecture, Dr. Shurburn, who's going to be joining us, a director at the OU Physicians Concussion Clinic and a clinical assistant professor for OU Physician Sports Medicine Department. Also joining us is attorney Chad McLain of Graves McLain. You need to get a longer title there, Chad. This is pretty impressive. No, we appreciate you both coming in. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having
me. You know, concussions has certainly been in the news lately, especially in sports, and there was a movie about it based on what's going on in the NFL. What is the thing about protocol? What are some of the things that we need to know about concussions?
Well, the first thing is if you suspect an athlete has a concussion, the first thing to do is remove them from play, and they need to have a proper medical evaluation. The risk with a concussion typically is not the concussion in and of itself. The risk is what we call the second impact syndrome. And that's where a player sustains a hit while still symptomatic from a concussion. That leads to malignant cerebral edema or swelling of the brain and is fatal in over 90% of the cases.
You were explaining something a little bit earlier to me, like here in Oklahoma, for instance, like 9% of the high schools don't have either a physician, a full-time physician, or a training staff, and a lot of times it's left up to mom and dad to make that determination. It probably shouldn't be that way, should it?
No, and you got that just reversed.
Okay.
Only 9% have full-time athletic trainers.
Okay.
So the overwhelming majority of high schools in this state, and not even thinking about middle school, do not have athletic trainers or people available to evaluate their athletes.
All right, and that education is so important about that, which is one of the things you guys are going to be covering on the 14th. And in your particular instance, you were telling me, Chad, you guys see a lot of folks come in with head injuries, a lot of times involved because of accidents or something.
We absolutely do. You know, a big part of our practice is handling injured folks after a car wreck and concussions. That was one of the things that I wanted Dr. Shurburn to share with us, is that concussions can happen from, doesn't have to take a direct impact.
Right.
Don't have to hit your head on something. It's the back and forth motion or side to side motion of your head. And as we're sitting here, I'm hearing him talk about the second impact syndrome, and the first impact could have been in a car wreck, and the second impact could be a sports-related injury.
Right.
And so there may be some separation there, and we not connect the dots, so to speak, of the two things having a potentially fatal impact. So.
Are there any particular signs that people need to be alert to look at? I mean, I think the one thing is you always ask someone, where are you? And if they don't know, you go, oh, concussion. But
well, in sports, we have a series of questions called Maddox Questions, which are geared more towards the athlete. Instead of asking them who's the president, what's the date, things like that, you ask them what's the score of the game, who scored last, where are you playing, who are we playing, things like that. But for individuals who are in car accidents or industrial accidents, yeah, you have to make sure they're oriented to person, place, and time. But then it's a matter of symptoms: headaches, nausea, blurry vision, seeing double, just not feeling right. A lot of times athletes will say, I just don't feel right.
But as you said, with a car accident or an injury at work or something, my assumption would be, don't take it for granted. Go see someone and find out about how serious it is.
Absolutely.
All right, and they can find out more coming up on the 14th, correct? Is that free and open? Is that open to everybody?
Yes.
All right,
free and open to the public.
Thank you guys very much for coming in today. Certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Concussions, diagnosis, treatment, management. November 14th, 6 o'clock until 7:30 at the Shurbun Learning Center, located at 41st and Yale. And to find out more about this, you can also go to gravesmclain.com.